Alright, we are back now. Much better than before. I was trying to get YouTube hooked up. So now YouTube is good. So anybody who would like to tune in on YouTube, or you have any family or friends that would not be so keen to get on Twitch, YouTube is the place. Very ready to get the first round of the night, or of this season, started. I have been very eagerly awaiting the start of this season. Get camera 2 going. Camera 2 is the much better replay cam. And we will see. YouTube is the same as the Twitch name, so R3TroveX. If you are in the Discord, the link is in the Discord. And once again, for those who are new, I don't usually ask very much, but if you do have Amazon Prime, you have a free subscription through Twitch Prime, which you can use to support the broadcast and the streams. I get a little bit of dinero for doing that, which is always nice. Hoping for some good racing tonight. We are going back to the 10-minute sprint, 10-minute sprint, 40-minute sprint layout tonight. That racing format. As we have a little over 5 minutes left in free practice. So for those who it may be your first time driving in this series, or for those who have never watched a TRC broadcast with the Wednesday series, what this class is it is a spec multi-class. Spec meaning that all of the drivers are in the same car, multi-class meaning that there's more than one class of car. So, as you can see, we are riding along with Darnell. He is driving the KTM Crossbow GT2, and that is the faster class of the night. And then if we hop on with Mikey, he is driving the KTM Crossbow GT4 with his teammate Atwell, both sharing liveries. If you weren't here with us for the first part of this season, we were in Maseratis. We did 6 round in Maseratis, the Maserati MC20 GT2 and the Maserati Gran Turismo GT4. Now, we have flipped the script with the different class. So, the KTMs, we have GT2 and GT4 still, but the drivers who were racing in GT2 in the Maserati series are now going to be racing in GT4. Those who raced in GT4 are now racing in GT2, and we have started to see a very big, I say, shake-up in pace with these drivers. For qualifying tonight, it is 20 minutes of qualifying, but we do a split quali. So our first class will go first, or our fastest class will go first, and then the GT4s in the second class will go second. The split quali has definitely made for some interesting moments. The GT2 drivers, they go first. They will have 10 minutes to complete their flying laps. Since we do a split qualifier, each class has 10 minutes to qualify. At the end of those 10 minutes, the GT4s will come out. If a GT2 starts a lap before the timer goes to 10, then they can finish that lap and it be valid. But if they start a lap before the timer gets to 10 minutes, if they start a lap after the timer gets to 10 minutes, it will be invalid and not counted towards their qualifying time. We haven't had any abuses of that yet, as we see Mikey go extremely wide at the penultimate corner. Also, those Team Lime guys. Let's get some Team Lime emotes for one of your Team Lime drivers here of Mikey. As we have 32 cars on track, it is definitely a good showing. Not the entire field of registered drivers, but the majority of them. Over 75%. As we are riding along with Mikey through the S's, as we hurl ourselves down towards the bus stop. Is he light on the brakes? Is he hard on the brakes? A little bit hard, but as you can see, nearly losing it. A little bit of a slide for style points for the camera there. You see all of those cars lined up all the way down the pit lane. As we hop on Viana, coming around the heel. As you can see on the track map on the bottom right, part of Watkins Glen looks like a shoe. The top part, that left-hander going down the hill, is called the chute before you get to the tight right-hander called the toe. And then you come around to another tighter right-hander called the heel. Then once you come around the heel, you are at the penultimate corner and then the final corner. It is going to be very busy. This is a long track, but not the longest track. So there will be plenty of inter-class relations as we see Viana get extremely close to the wall here. And right along with Viana, see how much brake he's got. He's got a lot of brake. You see the front end load up, but nice through the curbs. You can use a lot more of those curbs than you think, but those curbs can also be not very nice to you, as we see Viana now coming down the chute. As he comes through the chute, headed down towards the toe. A very awkward kind of go down a gear, go up a gear corner. It's got a lot of camber in it, so it will pull you through, but something the drivers are having a little bit of trouble with is getting the correct gearing coming through those corners. Gearing is extremely crucial for turn-in, especially on those tight corners, as it will load or unload the differential and allow the rear tires to spin a little bit more or counter-rotate from each other. As the timer has come to 0, we are about to get started with qualifying here. We just have Viana and then Rowan in the 87 to come across the line, and then after that it is going to be the 19 of who is in the 19? Who was in the 19? Was that Eggy? Alright, so let's get started with qualifying. As I go to verify that I have the correct camera chosen. It seems that I do not necessarily get to choose my camera. And we will see if we can get on board with our drivers here as our GT2s are rolling out. It's right along with Horner, a typical front runner when we see him race. The last time we saw him was at the Maserati Madness GT2 GT4 finale, where I believe he did take a victory in one of those races. Just trying to see if I can get the replay camera that I'm looking for. Does not seem to want to give me that replay camera. So we may just be dealing with I believe we are just going to be dealing with this camera. And we are now set. As I believe Horner will be the first to cross the line to start a flying lap, a valid lap. We will start to see the times come down the boards. I did not pay much attention to the times they were setting in practice, but at GT3s, the times you can set around here are down in the 43s for a fast lap. We will see how close these drivers get. These are GT2s, so they are similar in speed to the GT3s. A little bit less downforce, a little bit more power, and they do not have tire blankets, which means that they come out of the pits and start at the starting line on cold tires. As we see Horner, the first to navigate the bus stop at speed. Nice line through, a little bit of a lift halfway through, but making it through nice. Setting the lap is better than setting the fast lap as he comes around the chute and down into the left-hander of the chute. A lot of camber in these turns here that comprise the boot, especially this uphill right-hander. A lot of camber in that corner. And then a little bit of supporting camber as you float the car out to the curbs on the left-hand side. Greasy, if you are wanting to get the camera on Prime Flight, let me know their last name, and I will make sure that we get the camera on them. As Horner looks to be our first to set a flying lap, we'll see what the lap time's going to be. It'll put him up to the top regardless of what it is. But we will see what we are working with. He will be the first to set the pace. Horner comes across the line of 47.3 to set the first lap time of the night. As McDonough just a hundredth of a second behind. And Darnell just nearly 400ths of a second behind. They've only just set their first flying laps, but they are looking extremely close in lap time. Less than a tenth of a second between first and third right now. Mertson comes in about 2.5 seconds off the pace. Car number 777 just coming to validate the lap at the line. Car number 913 will be coming across next. That is Craters. As Craters jumps up into P4, 3/10 off of the current pole position time of Horner. As we see hear Horner squeal those front tires all the way through the chute. Same thing here on the toe. As we come around to the bottom of the boot, Horner still in P1. Salty Breakfast 2.4 seconds off the pace. Mertson 2.5 seconds off the pace. Those are your current bottom running GT2s, but they have plenty of time to set a faster lap. A little bit tricky track to negotiate for some drivers, as we will likely see a lot of invalid laps. As Horner goes too deep into the left-hander coming out of the boot, gets a hard lick to the outside wall. That is going to both invalidate this lap, but also lose a lot of time. Hopefully he does not have any damage on that car. He seems to be confident enough in the car to go for another lap, but hard contact against the wall in qualifying is not what you want, especially when you are fighting for a close pole here. He will hold on to pole for now, but he will have to go around the track one more time to try to set the fastest lap that he can. He must have been on a good one. He was pushing hard, as we got an incident at the heel between car numbers 424 and 59, I believe. Car number 424, Mertson. Mertson waiting for traffic to go by. I believe they may have had a coming together at the line. Car number 777 of Vasquez coming across the line to set a lap. And Vasquez goes to the top, a 47.1. And Craters with a 46.5, knocking the time off of the clock. Craters now with a half a second lead to P2, 3/4 of a second from P3 to P5, and nearly 3.5 seconds to Mertson in P9. Very close, very competitive qualifying so far. Car number 81 of Breakfast just having come across the line. Craters, who we are on board with now, currently your pole sitter. As we will see if he can improve or see if the rest of the field can improve. He's showing those drivers that there's more time in that car if they can't extract it. We will see car number 731 coming across the line to set their first flying lap, and they will Viana up into P6 in class. Car number 915 of Horner, invalidating again, but going to have this time and one more time to set another flying lap. 2 more shots at it, as long as you can keep the car on track and as long as you can have enough, or as long as you have enough fuel in it. Car number 38 also resetting the invalid lap. Darnell, car number 420, also resetting the invalid lap. And then Harris also resetting the invalid lap. These 4 drivers, they are quick, but they are all invalidating on their qualifying laps, all pushing. It is going to be an extremely hard-fought pole here, as we are just over 2 minutes left in GT2 split qualifying before the GT4 start rolling out. Horner pushing extremely hard, 4-wheel slide through the first part of the bus stop, coming around the right-hander before the chute. He is pushing everything he can. Vasquez with a 46.4 currently on pole. Craters into the pits. I believe he is done. He's not going to have enough time to get around the track one more time and set another flying lap. So I think Craters is going to hold on to what he's got for now. Car number 424 of Mertzen. Car number 81 of Breakfast. Car number 87 of Rowan. Invalidating the lap. Not going to have enough time to make it back around the track. Going to settle for P6 currently, but without a valid lap to work with, he is going to potentially drop down in the positions if those 4 drivers below him set faster laps than he can. Than he has. Car number 731 of Viana. Losing it at the final corner, it looks like. Not going to improve, but we'll have this time as Viana will be the last car across the line. Actually, not the last car yet. I'm a little bit ahead. I'm a minute ahead. Viana with all sorts of issues with the car coming out of turn 1. Horner has enough time to set one more flying lap, and he's going to push very hard on this one, but he has invalidated it. That will take him out of this battle. It is P4 and no more for Horner as he is going to pull that car over and take it into the pits. McDonough in the number 38 going to be the driver to potentially move up ahead of Horner. Hard against the wall at the S's, but he's going to keep it going. I wonder if he lost any speed there, and he has. McDonough, I believe, with some damage on the car, pulling over to the side. McDonough will not be able to improve. Darnell and 420 will not be able to improve. As you see, all of the GT4s queuing up to be first on track when that timer hits 10 minutes. And we will see, as it's 1 second left, GT4s are now rolling. They are eagerly awaiting a position on track. They want to be out there first because the first one on track is going to be the first in the clean air, the first without traffic around him. Car number 424 of Mertzen not improving. Car number 67 of Harris. The final GT2 to set a qualifying lap, looking to improve here. Currently 1.7 seconds off of pole position pace here. Does he have enough to move up into the positions? All of the drivers before him have locked in their spots. Can Harris improve? As the GT4 field is cycling out, we will ride along with Harris for his final lap to see if he can improve and displace any of those drivers in front of him. He likes the lap currently. He's still running it. Trying to carry as much speed as he can through the left-hander before he comes into the final corners here. A lot of speed in these corners. Sometimes a little bit of a dab of the brakes. Sometimes a little bit of a gear change. Just for a second, long enough to rotate the rear. Pushing out. Not getting as close to the wall as I would expect, but we'll see if Harris can improve. And Harris will not improve. Currently P8 will stay P8. And in GT2, your qualifying order, Vasquez P1 with a 46.4 ahead of Craters and Darnell. That is your qualifying podium. Horner will take the left lane in the second row. And then it will be McDonough, Rowan, Viana, Harris, and Breakfast, with Mertzen bringing up the rear in GT2 qualifying. Now, for GT4s, they are about to start setting their flying laps. Car number 16 of Mikey is the one out front with all of the clean air, trying to run away from the rest of the field. He will not have to deal with any traffic, at least not for now, as with 8 minutes left, we are about to see what lap times these GT4 cars can produce. As Mikey getting a little bit too much of the exit curb at turn 1, that will potentially put him under attack from Eggy. If Eggy has the pace to keep up with Mikey here. Mikey still looking comfortable out front, but I can only assume not going to be very happy with his little incident at turn 1 there. I believe that has invalidated his lap, but still going to practice, getting a lot of the inside curve, nearly losing the car once more. And that will put him under attack from Eggy. Now having to hammer down and try to get away from this pack here as he is losing that open air advantage. There's a group of 4 cars here. You could potentially see some drafting here. Not that there is much room to draft at this track, but you could see some drafting. as I believe the only one of these drivers with a current valid lap is going to be the 23 of Young. I believe that Young is the only car in this group that to be on a valid lap. So Young currently looking to be setting our first flying lap, setting the pace. Staying tight with this leading group in qualifying, he may be able to get a little bit of a tow from these drivers ahead of him. Drain, Eggy, and Mikey, consistently drivers that we see up at the front of the row. In the preseason, Mikey was showing some dominant pace in the GT4. Definitely a car that you would want to be following around in qualifying. And Young setting the first time of the night. Let's open up the timetables and see what we're looking at in GT4. 56.7. That nearly matches the 10 seconds slower that we see as a usual benchmark of the split between GT2s and GT4s. Elizondo up into pole position here in GT4. We will see, where is Davis? Davis currently down in P7, P8 in GT4. But there's plenty of time to set another lap. They've got about 3 or 4 more opportunities. Elizondo, your current pole sitter here in GT4. Davis looking like he's got the potentially a stealing the fan favorite here, as Davis is showing a lot of fans in the chat. We will see if it will help or hinder Davis, as we know that sometimes the commentator's curse is present. I try not to make a big deal out of it, but it has commonly shown its hand. Our number 31, that is Morton, one of the newcomers tonight, as well as Fernandez. Not his first race with us, but his first race in the Wednesday series. Jennings, I believe a late join in GT2, or just not setting a lap. Jennings will be the last GT2, but he will be starting in the middle of the GT4 field, not somewhere that you want to be. And as these GT4s set their lap times, they will be just pushing Jennings back to the very back of the pack. Jack saying, go Team Margaritaville. I don't have any Team Margaritaville emotes, but I do have Team Lime emotes, and if you are Team Lime, go ahead and use them. Davis, currently P14, looking to improve in the lap time. We have seen him up on the front row. Or if not on the front row, very near to it. So we will make sure to keep up with Davis, as well as Schmidt, the teammate behind. You will notice some of these drivers, if they are on a team, they will be sharing liveries with their teammates. So look out for those matching liveries out there on track. Elizondo, still your pole sitter here in GT4. Just under 3 minutes left in GT4 qualifying. We will see if anyone can dethrone Elizondo before we get to the racing tonight, before we get to the green flag. Bird just a 10th behind Elizondo, also following. Elizondo giving Bird the wave around, saying, I want to see what you're working with, as Elizondo will now fall behind Bird. Bird looking to be on a fast lap here. Harrell also just a couple tenths off of the leaders, and then it is tight in the lap times all the way from P1 to P7 in GT4, separated by a second. It's close, just like the GT2 class is, as Drain up into P3. I believe dethroning Harrell, as we see Harrell coming out of the penultimate corner, or not of the penultimate corner. We want Short. I will make sure in the race that everybody that is wanting to be seen gets seen. We will ride along with Short here, I believe, a newcomer, first-time driver tonight. As we see him coming out of the final corner. Floating the car out nicely to the outside. Could use a little bit more curb, but a good exit of the final corner. As Short goes to start their final flying lap. Drivers about halfway through the lap will have enough time to get around for one more as Short abandons the lap, not running another, going ahead and ending the qualifying there. Short looking to come back out, but is not going to have enough time to make it around the track to set another lap. That will be the end of Short's qualifying there. Still rooting for Rowan as Bird has dethroned Elizondo for the pole position. Bird will have enough time to make it around the track one more time to hope to buy himself some insurance on that pole position. Elizondo currently P2, following close behind as Bird is looking for his first pole position in this spec multi-class series, and it would be the first GT4 pole position of the KTM Cannonball series. As Bird comes across the line, not improving yet. Elizondo has now dethroned Bird, and they have swapped positions once more as the clock rounds to 0. Elizondo and Bird potentially in a heated battle for the pole here, if they both can keep it on a fast lap. Mikey up into P3 in GT4, Drain P4, Harold P5 currently. As Mikey getting very, very loose on the exit, or on the about halfway through the bus stop. Mikey did not respect the curbs, and that will bring it into Mikey's qualifying session. Elizondo and Bird still in a battle for pole position here. Mikey P4 locked the time in. Drain has locked the time in. There are very few GT4s still on track. Elizondo washing out the front tires, overdriving them slightly. That will bring an end to his lap. Bird with one more shot. He's got a car in front of him of Young. I don't know if he's going to be close enough for any sort of slipstream there. He's going to need all the help he can get as the clock is rounded out, or has round down to 0. Car number 66 of Atwell, another driver that we can see up at the front, as Atwell looking to finish his qualifying session here. And will Atwell improve? Atwell will improve up to 14th in GT4. Bird, much closer than he was before behind Young. Looking to buy some insurance on the pole position, or looking to see if he can steal the pole position here. He's got a little bit of tow from Young. It may be enough. Bird will not improve, just a tenth and a half. Almost 2 tenths behind Elizondo. Still starting on the front row in GT4, but not enough to take the pole position. To run through your starting order for the races tonight, Vasquez in GT2, your pole sitter, your overall pole sitter. Craters P2, Darnell P3, Horner P4, McDonough P5, Rowan P6, Viana P7, Harris P8, Breakfast P9. Mertson P10 and Jennings P11 in GT4. Elizondo P1 still holding on to that pole position. Bird was not able to steal it. Bird in P2. Harrell P3, Mikey P4, Drain P5, Norman P6. Greathouse, a first-time driver here tonight, up into P7. Kane P8, Eggy P9, Fernandez, first time in the Wednesday series, P10. Young P11, Merkel P12, Mott P13. Atwell P14, Flatman P15, Davis down in P16, Miller P17, Schmidt P18, Short P19, Ditto P20, and Morton in P21. It is a very busy field. We are a minute and a half left from, or a minute and a half away from engines fired, as we are about to get started with the festivities tonight. Make sure that you've got your water alongside. I definitely have mine, as I am going to need it. As we are about to get started here in a minute and 30 seconds, we will be engines fired, and we will do a full formation lap. That is a slow, controlled lap around the track to form the field before we do our rolling start. We will see if we have any late entries here. Jennings, I believe, is the only one. Jennings in the unfortunate spot starting at the very back of the field. Not going to have enough time to make it through the field through all of those GT4s in front in these 10-minute sessions. Not going to have enough time to do it in race 1. Not going to have enough time in race 2. May have enough time in race 3. Should be able to do it within a couple laps, but just not going to have the time to move ahead of the slower class. Probably going to spend a lot of time stuck in traffic. Pole is on the inside here, I believe. I believe pole is on the inside. Pole is on the inside. Pole is on the preferred line down into turn 1, as it usually is, as we are about 10 seconds away here from engines fired, as we will go ahead and go on board with Vasquez for engines fired here very shortly. And we are on board with Vasquez. Getting some lights from Darnell and P3 behind. We're getting some flashes from all of the drivers down through the field, something I love to see on the formation laps, as Vasquez is about to get us rolling here for the first time tonight in the KTM Cannonball Series. Round 1 here at Watkins Glen, and we are rolling for the formation lap. First time tonight for the first race of this new season. We will see who has the lap time, who can hold on to the car the longest, who has the best pace. Vasquez, typical front runner that we see up on or near the front row. And something you will see with these drivers as they go about their laps, especially in the GT2s, you will see they will be weaving. They are dragging their brakes and they are weaving. These GT2s do not have tire blankets. They come off of the pit lane and off of the starting line without warm tires. They come off with stone cold tires. So what they need to do is warm those tires up. You see McDonough, Viana, Horner, Craters, they are all weaving those tires, trying to gather temperature, build up temperature. The more temperature that you have means the more pressure that you have in the tire. You don't want too much pressure, as you don't want the tires too hot, but the more pressure that you build up in those tires, the stronger your sidewall will be, the stronger traction you will be, the better handling you will have. As we see Vasquez coming through the bus stop, leading the field. Once again, you will see a lot of weaving. You may see some drivers speeding up and then slowing down very quickly. That is something that they do to generate brake temperatures. We see Vasquez doing right there. And Bird, supposed to be starting on the front row, will be starting from the pit lane. Not very good for him. That means that he will start 30 seconds later than the rest of the field. Hopefully we'll have a better start in race 2. You got to make those mistakes early. You make those mistakes early on, especially in round 1. You're supposed to make those mistakes in the preseason, but if you didn't make those in the preseason, you can make them now. It is always a good time to learn, as Vasquez brings us around the toe before we head towards the heel, as we watch the GT2 field cycle through ahead of our GT4s. We are just a few corners away from taking the green flag for the first time tonight and for the first time in this series, At least officially, that is. It is for the points. There is no money, but if there was, this would be for it. Vasquez on the inside. Craters will be on the outside as they come out of turn 9. As they get the 2x2 call, as they line up 2x2 for our race start. As we see the rest of the field cycling through those GT4s, it'll take a minute. We've got a lot of cars on track. 32 cars in total. As now the sound catches up as we've got the exhaust of all of these cars pointed at us. And as they come out of the final corner, Vasquez will lead them to the line, lead this series to its race start. As Vasquez about to hit the speed limit line where they are to hold 70 kilometers an hour or 43 miles an hour. And as we creep up to the line, green, 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 we are racing for the first time here in the KTM Cannonball Series. Vasquez holding the inside nicely, Darnell in tow behind. They will be 2x2, nearly 3 wide as they come into turn 1. Who is going to take the NASCAR line? I don't see any NASCAR lines just yet. The rest of the field seems to be making it through nicely. There is an extremely big pack of GT4s here as they are 3 wide trying to make it through the S's here. We got a couple cars off in the dirt, but everybody looks to be making it through okay. Hopping back onto your GT2s, they are heading down to the bus stop into this chaos 2x2. We did it on the formation lap, but I wouldn't recommend doing it here as Darnell gets off into the marbles, and Darnell is off the track. Craters also in trouble. Darnell rejoining, doesn't seem to have any damage, but I can only imagine that those tires are going to be red hot and potentially have a flat spot. I am not sure if he does, but that is going to move Darnell towards the rear of this GT2 field. We've got an incident in the back of the GT4 field. That is Flatman. Damage on that car. Morton, I thought I saw some damage as well, but Flatman, Taxi Dad, with some unfortunate damage on that car. That is bringing out the yellow for that sector. We may see him try to get that car started back up. He may take it to the pits, as he has taken it to the pits. So has Craters. Both of these cars having damage. An unfortunate start to their races, but Horner up into the lead here in GT2. Vasquez now down to P2, following just behind Horner. McDonough in P3. All of these drivers still very close to each other as we come through to finish the first lap of this series, and Horner will lead our first lap. He was not the pole sitter, and he may not win this race, but he will lead the first lap of this series. Vasquez looking for a move down into turn 1, will not happen, backing out of it. Horner clattering over the inside curb, though. That will allow Vasquez to maybe get a little bit more speed than Horner on the corner exit, and he will have tow all the way here through the S's. Horner nearly making contact with the wall on the inside of the S's there as they scream down towards the bus stop. This time much less traffic than before, and they should make it through the bus stop nicely. Hopping onto your GT4 leaders, Harrell up in front all on his lonesome. Elizondo just behind. Jennings in the GT2 actually will have enough time to make it all the way through the GT4 field, but I don't know if he will have enough time to catch up to the back of the GT2 field. Harrell in a nice position. Jennings out in the marbles, still trying to get away. Elizondo and Mikey in a battle here, trying 2x2 through the chute. They make it work. Elizondo pushed to the outside, but now he has the preferred line down into the toe as they make contact, and Mikey backwards at the toe. Unfortunate contact there, and Mikey is up into the wall. Mikey will just be dropping down the positions. Some unfortunate contact there as Mikey now rejoins the track. Harrell still your leader. Jennings broken away from this field. Elizondo and Drain now the cars battling for the last 2 positions on the GT4 podium. Davis, though, Davis does have the fastest lap so far. as it has been stolen by McDonough. Vasquez now up into the lead. Horner, I believe, making a mistake. Horner has dropped down. We see a little bit of damage on the front of that GT2 car. Horner was up in the lead, but a very messy start here in the very beginning of this series. Another thing about this series is it puts drivers in cars that they may not be the most comfortable with. That's kind of the whole point of the series. And especially this being the first round, some of these drivers were not with us in the preseason, and this is their exposure to these cars under racing conditions. You will start to see who has had the most practice and who has not. Darnell diving to the inside, looking for a move on Harris for the 4th position. Hounding all over his rear bumper, forcing him on the setup to the outside, but then looking to snipe the inside of the toe. Will not be close enough for the move, but trying to get the overtake here for the 4th position so he can move back up into the podium positions. As they come down to the heel, Darnell once again not close enough. Harris just holding his line. Breakfast and Mertzen in battle here. Breakfast looking to defend against Mertzen. Mertzen looks to have some pace, though. We will see if Breakfast can hold on to this position, as they are nearly touching as they come through turn 9. Mertzen with a good run out of 9, down into 10. You can carry a lot of speed here. You can see what the car in front of you is doing and try to change up your line to gain a little bit of an advantage. And Mertzen still slotting behind, will have slipstream. May be looking for a move down into turn 1. Not close enough yet. Back on with your GT4s. Harrell still your leader, but a 4-wheel slide coming out of the final corner. Still, that is going to be the comfort level that you will start to see these drivers toying with, playing with. Not all of these drivers are super comfortable in these cars. Elizondo and Drain in a battle for P2, nearly pushing each other down the pit straight. Drain moving ahead of Elizondo. Elizondo trying to get the position back as they come through the S's. Elizondo showing his presence, moving back and forth, getting some movement, trying to get Drain's attention, get him to look in that mirror instead of look ahead, and force the mistake, force the overshoot down into the braking zone of the bus stop, but it will not happen. Drain making it through nicely. Elizondo in tow, but Drain going through the bus stop a little bit nicer than Elizondo, and the gap has grown slightly. McDonough in P2 behind Vasquez. Viana up into P3 with Harris in P4, getting that position back from Darnell. Or I guess maybe never losing it. I thought Darnell had that 4th place locked down, but does not seem to be that way yet. Elizondo still trying to get this position away from Drain, move up into the 2nd spot here in GT4. He was your pole sitter, but not enough to hold on to the lead. Elizondo looking for the dive bomb down into the boot, or down into the heel of the boot, as they will be side by side for turn 9. Drain will have the preferred line. Elizondo will try to hang it around the outside. And once again, still side by side, Elizondo looks to maybe have a little bit of an advantage, but Drain still there. Now Elizondo has the preferred line as they come through the final corner. Will Drain slot behind? Yes, he will try to fight this battle later on. They've just got a couple laps left here before we will be taking the checkered flag for the first time in this series. Darnell and Harris still in battle up here in P4 and P5 in GT2. Back in GT4, there is a large group of cars headed by Miller, Young, and Craters. Actually, that is Craters in the GT2 who came out of the pit lane looking to regain some positions. I don't think he will be able to regain much. Miller and Young and Craters going for the NASCAR line there, which is anything past the curb. Not legal here, but if we were racing cup cars at the Glen, while we would also cut the boot off of the track entirely, their rules are if it's asphalt or concrete, it's legal. Schmidt and Mikey in battle here Mikey forcing Schmidt to the inside. Mikey will try it around the outside. Mikey will send it a little bit deeper, and he will get it. Mikey has the position up into, I believe, that is going to be 12th for the GT4 field, and I think it is. Mikey still fighting forward. He has Young and Miller. And as you remember, Mikey was up in P3 with some unfortunate contact with Elizondo, dropping him down the field. He has now fought his way back up. He's got a couple more cars in front of him to take those positions. Vasquez, not quite under attack from McDonough yet, but McDonough still has his presence in Viana. Viana could be in this battle at any moment. Vasquez and McDonough could bring a spicy into the first race of the night here. That is if McDonough can close the gap up on Vasquez. If McDonough's going for the dive bomb at the chute, and he will have it done. Viana looks to follow through, and a through goes Hamilton style on the exit of the turn, but Vasquez will have the advantage going through the toe. Car number 800 of Short, slow at the penultimate corner. It looks like he may have some damage and may be parking that car. Both of those teammates of Greathouse and Short parking the cars for now here in race 1. Vasquez holding the fastest lap of the race, and this will come down to the line. McDonough up into the lead on the last lap. That's why he went for it. Viana up into P2. He's made it past Vasquez. Vasquez can try to get this position back, but this may have your front three locked up here. McDonough ahead of Viana. McDonough looks to take the checkered flag here in race 1, and he will. A savage move down into the chute grants McDonough the win in race 1 and the first win of this series, the first win that he's had in any of these series. Viana, P2. Harris up onto the podium, up into P3. I don't know if Vasquez pushed too hard or what, but Vasquez will finish down in P6. He's got the fastest lap, but it's not enough for the win. Harrell, still your GT4 leader with Elizondo. Elizondo has dropped Drain. Norman up into P3. Norman looking for his first podium. I believe his first podium. He may have gotten a podium in the last series, but this would be his first podium of this series, as the teammates may come across the line side by side. Harrell looking to take the checkered flag. Four-wheel slide out of the final corner, but Harrell will take the checkered flag here in race 1 of the GT4 series. Elizondo, P2. Norman will finish ahead of the teammate of Drain, and Norman will take P3 in GT4. As the rest of the field cycles through, Fernandez and Kane may be in battle here. Atwell and Davis, they just seem to be lining through nicely. We will follow the rest of the field as they come through. Schmidt under attack from Mikey. It's a drag race to the line, but it will not be a pass. Schmidt finishing ahead of Mikey. Very close between them, and the rest of the field seems to be cycling through nicely. Merkel and Ditto once again in the position, but will hold their positions respectively. Looked like there may have been a slipstream pass in the works. Miller and Morton coming across the line to bring it into race 1 of the TRC KTM Cannonball Series. Let's run down the finishing order here. In GT2, McDonough stealing the win with that savage move at the end of the first race on the final lap. Viana, P2, Harris, P3. A little bit unconventional podium than we are used to with this group of drivers. Darnell, P4, Rowan, P5. A good finish for Rowan. Vasquez, P6, Horner, Breakfast, P7, Horner, P8, Mertzen, P9, Jennings, P10, and Craters, P11. In GT4, Harrell, your winner here for the first race in GT4. Elizondo in P2, Norman in P3, Drain P4, Fernandez P5, Kane P6, Atwell P7, Davis P8, Young P9, Schmidt P10, Mikey P11, Eggy P12, Mott P13, Bird P14, Ditto P15, Merkel P16, Miller P17, Morton P18, Greathouse P19, and Short P20. With Flatman in P21 getting caught in an unfortunate incident on the first lap. We'll see if Bird remembers to start from the grid this time and not start from the pit lane, as we are bringing an end to race 1 and we're about to get started here with race 2. As we are waiting for the lobby to update over into race 2. Once again, let's get some shout-outs for those drivers that you want to see out there on track. I know Davis is a big one, Short is a big one, Rowan is a big one. Rowan currently the fan favorite, but Davis looking to be replacing Rowan with that role. And once again, if you are enjoying the streams and you would like to support the channel, support me, you can use your Amazon Prime and subscribe to the channel, or you can just subscribe to the channel with real money. But I'd rather you do it with something that you may have for free than do it with your real money. As we are about 2 minutes away from engines fired here in race 2. Let me know what you guys thought about race 1. Some people saying it was a heater. Hopefully we can have a cleaner start, as these drivers may have a little bit better idea of how these cars are going to handle at the front. We'll see if Bird realizes to start from the grid. He needs to get out of the pause menu and he needs to start from the front of the GT4 field like he should be. And Jennings showing us that he can make it through the field pretty quickly. I was actually surprised to see him up towards the front row. Or not up towards the front row, but very quickly through the GT4 field. Making easy work of those GT4s. It may be that horsepower advantage coming through the S's and down to the bus stop, but Jennings made light work of cruising through the field. So was Craters. We may see a lot of interclass relations here in the 40-minute race that will be coming shortly after this race. Margaritaville Racing has got it. If you say so, Breakfast, we need to see you up at the top. Elizondo still in P1 here in GT4, Bird in P2, as long as Bird starts from the track this time, not from the pit lane. Vasquez looking to have a better end to this race. I believe looking to have a better end. Where did he?
30 seconds.
Was the finish there? Yeah, McDonough stole it at the very end. I was mixing up Viana and Vasquez there for a second, as Vasquez is about to get us rolling here. Engines fired once more. And we'll see if I can, let's ride along with the GT4s and see what they're looking like. This is your GT4 pole sitter, and this is what it looks like from back here. This is at the very front of the GT4 field, at the very back of the main GT2 field. You can't see anything yet. And this is pretty much what it looks like at the race start. Now we are rolling here as Horner goes around. Horner, I think, just getting a little bit too eager with the throttle, as we will ride through the formation lap with Elizondo here. See some weaving here. These GT4s do have tire blankets, so they do start out with warmer tires, but they do need to withhold that temperature, as we see Horner flying through the field trying to get back up to his grid position. And we see Elizondo here working that wheel back and forth. What that's doing is warming up those front tires. The rear tires will warm just by friction with the track as they are delivering power, but working those front wheels with the steering wheel is going to generate a lot of temperature for them. as we will hop back onto the leaders here. Your GT2 pole sitter of Vasquez once more. And also, hello to the YouTube chat. I know I probably haven't spent much time talking to you guys, but it's pretty much the Darnell chat, it seems. Everybody in there, a big fan of Darnell. Funny enough, I made the YouTube chat just for you guys, because Darnell said that you guys would have much preferred a YouTube chat, so there you go. Thank you guys for tuning in on the YouTube side. As they come through the toe on this formation lap. Vasquez looking to have a better start this time. All of these drivers, I think, looking to have a better start. Horner looking to move forward like he did, but this time hold on to it. Craters with an unfortunate start. I think there may have been some contact, but he had to take it to the pit lane. He ended up working his way back through the positions, but did not finish where he would have liked to. That's one thing that I like about this multi-race format is those mistakes that are made, you learn from them and you go to not make them anymore. As Darnell actually getting up into the wall there, Darnell may start the race with contact. As Vasquez now way up ahead of the field, we'll have to slow down and let them join up on him. As they do, and we assume race formation here, 2x2. We've already had a spin and contact with the wall, and it's just a formation lap. I don't know what that means for the race, but as we come out of turn 11, the final corner, Vasquez will once again lead us to the line. Hope for a clean start. We'll hope for a cleaner start than race 1. Turn 1 was fine, but lap 1 did have some unfortunate contact, and we are about to take the green flag for race 2 here at any moment. And Jennings diving off into the pit lane. And green, 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 we are racing here. Vasquez going defensive. Darnell looking to have an early fight for the lead, but they are going to go 3 wide through turn 1. Darnell getting choked up on the inside. Craters moving up into P2. Horner moving up into P3. Darnell slotting just behind as the intensity is firing up. It's like an incinerator. It's hot as soon as you open it. And they are going elbows out. Horner very defensive against Darnell. Darnell was thinking about following through, but thinking better of it, slotting behind. And as they come through the line, hopping on with Bird. Bird down to P3 in GT4. Everyone has made it through the bus stop a lot better than they did previously. Vasquez still up in P1 and GT2. Craters and Darnell. Darnell and Horner locking doors, holding hands nearly through the chute. As Horner will force his way past Darnell. McDonough looking on an offensive on Darnell as Darnell will hold on to the position. I think I confused Darnell with Viana there. It is very rough elbows out all the way through this field. Car number 51 and car number 34. That is Davis and Schmidt. Davis, that's teammates. The teammates have come together. And the teammates seem to have taken each other out of the race here, as there does not seem to be many points for those drivers. Hopping back on with GT2. Vasquez pulling away with Craters in P2. Horner, P3. Darnell, P4. McDonough, P5. Rowan, P6. Viana, P7. Harris, P8. Breakfast, P9. Merchant, P10. They are all still there. They're all there together. Hopping on with the GT4 of Elizondo with Mikey in tow just behind. Mikey looking for a move here down into turn 1. Not close enough. Will follow through the S's. He's going to have a long time with a lot of slipstream here as Bird goes wide on the exit of turn 1. Still just following suit. But this is a battle for the lead in GT4. Just a couple laps into it. Car number 51, I think that is Davis still, as Davis is now going to the pit lane. But they are side by side, your GT4 leaders, as they head down to the bus stop. You can't go there through there 2 by 2, and they know that. Mikey getting 2 wheels up in the air on the exit of the bus stop. Elizondo will hold on to it, but Mikey getting that poor exit will put him under attack from Bird. Bird now looking to move up into P2, reclaim his position of P2 that he set in the qualifying session. Mikey looking to move forward. Elizondo looking to hold on to the lead. Vasquez pulling away from the GT2 field along with Craters. Horner with the field behind him, looking to run away from Darnell, but Horner will have a poor exit of the heel, and that will put him under attack from Darnell. McDonough and Rowan. McDonough, your previous race winner, looking to repeat the result of race 1, but not in position to do it right now. Elizondo and Mikey looking to go side by side through turn 9. Bird looking to follow through or pick up the scraps, one or the other. As this is your entire GT4 podium all racing together here as they come through the penultimate corners, the big chicane as some like to call it, as Elizondo will lead them for another lap. Mikey, you see him working the front tires. I think they're getting a little bit of overdrive through the through the final corner there, maybe a little bit of understeer. Elizondo and Mikey. Mikey checking up nearly into Bird, forcing Bird to check up, but once again, this slipstream chain, it's a draft train almost of this top 3 pulling each other along like a daisy chain, but at the same time, they are battling as Mikey looking to force Elizondo to defend. Elizondo holding the racing line. Now Mikey and Bird are side by side, and they're going to try it through the bus stop. They will not. Bird is the one forced to back out. It's a game of chicken. Every time you come to the bus stop side by side, one person will back out, because if one person does not, you will be in a very tight spot coming through the bus stop. Very rarely does it happen where you come through the bus stop clean. Car number 31 and car 25. It's 25 of Kane suffering some damage, and 51 of Davis still in the pits. That is the 31. Who is in that 31? That is the 31 of Morton with damage on that car. Going to put him at a pace disadvantage. Vasquez, Craters, and Horner. Darnell in chase just behind Horner, looking to move up into the podium positions in GT2. Elizondo, Mikey, Bird, Drain now jumping up into this mix the longer that these cars battle. We are about to have a 4-car battle for the lead up here in GT4. Viana, Rowan in battle here as they come through the S's. Viana going to have the slipstream of Rowan. Will he have enough as they come down to the bus stop? He will not. It will be single file once more. Car number 914 of Eggy. The unfortunate, looks like maybe an unfortunate spin there as he was stopped on track for a very short amount of time. I don't see any damage, but Team Lime driver with a little bit of bad luck in this race. Back on with your GT4 leaders. Elizondo now under attack from Mikey, but Elizondo going defensive this time. Mikey may try it around the outside as they make contact one more time. Mikey having to bail out of it and going for the escape road, but nailing the bollards on the inside. That is going to give Mikey some damage, and that is going to force Mikey to drop all the way down the positions. Unfortunate for Mikey. He tried it 2 by 2, but once more just getting some door banger damage and being essentially taken out of the fight for the win in this race. Now it leaves Elizondo and Bird to do battle with Drain now up into P3. Very, very unlucky for Mikey tonight. Vasquez and Craters They have both pulled away from the rest of the field. The story comes to Darnell and Horner, just a couple laps left here in race 2, and they have been lapping very close to each other, maybe being conservative, just trying to see where they have a pace advantage over the other driver. Darnell, I know that he is licking his chops, or whatever that saying goes, to try and get this position from Horner. He's a driver that we typically see on the front row and typically see in the podium. We have not seen him there tonight. Will we see him up towards the front here? Car number 23 of Young around as they exit the boot. He is allowing the field to cycle through before he decides to put that car in gear and rejoin the racing line, as he has found his opening. Very heavy on the accelerator in reverse, slamming the back end into the wall. It's not good for the car. Elizondo and Bird in the GT4 lead here. The pair of them in battle just like Elizondo and Mikey were. And Bird with a good run coming out of the S's. He will nearly be ahead, as he will be ahead, just barely slotting ahead of Elizondo, forcing Elizondo to check up. But Bird said, "This is my position and I am taking it." And Bird moves up into the lead here in GT4 with just a couple laps left. Car number 12 of Norman. Norman around at the bus stop. That will drop him back in the positions. Bird still in the GT4 lead. We'll see if he can hold on to it. Horner now broken away from Darnell slightly, but Darnell getting a great exit of the final corner, as we are now on these last lap. White flag this lap, as Darnell is all over the rear bumper of Horner. We'll have to come back to this battle, as Bird looking to defend against Elizondo as they come to the heel of the boot. And car number 555 Mott just ahead of Flatman. That is Taxi Dad, your Welsh driver, as they cycle through the field. Bird still ahead of Elizondo. They've got one more lap to fight it. Vasquez still in the lead in GT2 with Craters in tow in P2. Horner nearly broken free of Darnell, but Darnell is going to have another shot at this position here if he can close that gap as we come to the end of this race. Bird, as they come across the start-finish line to start their final lap, Bird and Elizondo pulling away from Drain slightly. Bird pulling a nice gap on Elizondo, but he has run wide. You do not want to do that. The last thing you want to do is get a penalty on the final lap here. Bird has pulled a slight gap to Elizondo. They were close in qualifying, but Bird showing that he does have some pace in that car. Vasquez, as they are coming out of the boot. Craters much closer than he was before. There may be a shot at a move for the lead here before they cross the start-finish line. It will not be enough. They will finish as they are. Vasquez ahead of Craters. Vasquez will take the checkered flag. Craters will take P2. Bird extremely defensive against Elizondo, forcing Elizondo around the outside of the chute, and Elizondo will have to back out of it. Now Bird going defensive, but will Elizondo go for the dive bomb at the toe? He does not. Horner finishing ahead of Darnell. That is your GT2 podium. Vasquez, Craters, Horner. We are on board with the battle for the GT4 lead here between Bird and Elizondo. Bird still holding on to this lead. Drain just behind Elizondo with a couple corners to fight back. Bird pulling a slight gap, but it is not over until they cross the start-finish line. Bird, as they come through turn 9, still ahead of Elizondo. Drain close in tow. If Elizondo can get a great run of one of these corners, he will have a shot at getting this lead back, but as it looks right now, Bird has got it locked down. Elizondo's got to bring everything that he's got if he wants to have a shot at the win here in race 2, but it will not be enough. Bird is going to finish ahead of Elizondo. Elizondo will tuck into the slipstream, but once again, the drag race is not going to happen. Bird taking home the checkered flag for GT4 here in race 2. Drain in P3, Harrell in P4 as the rest of the GT4 field cycles through. Short actually finishing up in P8 Short with a nice comeback in position there. Great House also with a nice finish in 13th. Eggy with Young just behind. Maybe a swap of position here, but I don't think there will be, as these will be your last two drivers across the line. And Flatman Taxi Dad had parked it on the track and now making contact with Young, as we are getting some donuts as Eggy completely sends it through turn 1 into the wall and into Fernandez. How did they finish? In race 2, Vasquez, your winner in race 2. Craters P2 with the fastest lap. Horners P3. Darnell P4. McDonough P5. Rowan P6. Viana P7. Harris P8. Breakfast P9. Mertson P10. Jennings P11. A completely different finish than we had in race 1. If that doesn't show you that these drivers are racing well and this is going to be an extremely interesting season, I don't know what timetables you're looking at. Bird P1. Elizondo P2. Drain P3. Your finishing order for GT4. Harrell, P4, Fernandez, P5, Norman, P6, Mikey, P7, Short, P8. Great finish for Short there. Miller, P9, Atwell, P10, Mott, P11. Greathouse actually ended up finishing P12. Another good finish for him, especially with the luck that he has had tonight. Ditto, P13, Merkel, P14, Flatman, P15, Eggy, P16, Young, P17, Schmidt, P18, Morton, P19, Kane, P20, and Davis, P21. Davis with some extremely bad luck tonight, looking to have a better race 3. This is the race where all of the action is going to happen. This is the 40-minute race. We will start to see traffic. We will start to see tire wear. We start to see a lot of things that we don't get in these short 10-minute sprints, and the 40-minute race is the best race of the night. If you thought they were battling hard for 10 minutes, wait till you see them do it for 4 times as long. Still checking in on the Darnell stream. That's what I call the YouTube stream. Hoping for a better finish for Darnell. Congrats, Spooky Kid, for your win there in race 2. I believe that is your first win of the series. That is a very good win there, as we are about a minute away from engines fired once more. Team Darnell over there on the YouTube stream, as we are about to be rolling for race 3, the 40-minute race, the one that matters the most. Double points for the 40-minute race, and we will see how they finish in this race. If you make a mistake, you're going to have some time to fix it. How will they finish? Will they be any more aggressive? Will they be any less aggressive? I don't think they're going to be any less aggressive. And I'm not sure they could be more aggressive, as we are about to be engines fired here for race 3 of the TRC KTM Cannonball Series. I would say the action is restricted to one class, but I would be lying if I did. We have had the action all through the field in both classes, and we are just hoping for more, as the quote-unquote main event of the night, the 40-minute race, is about to be underway here shortly. Just a couple seconds away from rolling for the formation lap, and we will be on board with Vasquez as we pull away from the line. And we are now rolling. About to get started here with race 3 of the KTM Cannonball Series. This first round here at Watkins Glen, there was a chance of rain, but obviously you can see that we do not have that rain. If you were with us a couple weeks ago when we were racing the Maserati version of this series at Imola, we had the track completely flooded. There was no dry line anymore. Those cars, especially those GT4s with no traction control, they were slipping and sliding all over the place. We will do a check on Elizondo real quick. Elizondo asking if he is lagging. He is not. And there's all sorts of cars. Something that we will see tonight, especially in this race 3, is we will start to see traffic be a factor. At least once, probably twice, the leaders of both of these classes will cross paths. It has made for some great drama in the season before, and in the M2 season that we ran previously. Traffic plays a big role with a tight and technical track like Watkins Glen. It will play a crucial role. For one, those traffic cars may get in the way of a battle going on for the lead. 2, those traffic cars may be used as chess pieces by both the faster class and the slower class. The faster class cars can try and use some of these traffic cars to put them in unfortunate spots from their competitors that they may be battling with in the GT2 class. If they come down to a right-hander, say they come down to the toe here, it is going to be extremely crucial that, say, Vasquez would get in front of a GT4 before Craters has a chance to. Then Craters would be forced to ride behind the slower GT4, as Vasquez would then be pulling away. It is like playing chess on a racetrack, dealing with lap traffic, especially interclass traffic. We will start to see how these drivers handle this traffic. It was great action in the GT2 GT4 preseason that we ran last week at Red Bull Ring. There was some tempers flaring. They were racing extremely hard, but we also had some heartbreak. Darnell having a win stolen from him with just 10 minutes left in the 40-minute race. He had cruised away with it. Just some unfortunate contact with some lap traffic, some interclass traffic, and that caused some damage that then lost him the lead. He's looking for redemption tonight. Darnell looking for a win tonight. Darnell looking for a win tonight. Craters looking for a win tonight. McDonough got a win tonight, as we are about to be green flag for the final time tonight here in race 3, the big one of the KTM Cannonball Series. This is the season opener at Watkins Glen, as Vasquez sets the pace for the field. We are about to take the green flag. We're about to be started here. And Vasquez here in just a couple seconds will lead us to the line.
Green light.
And
go, go, go.
Green, green, green. We are racing. Race 3, the 40-minute race, the big one tonight, as they are 3 wide down towards turn 1. Horner is around. It's Horner and Darnell, all sorts of around. Darnell, actually I say that was Darnell, I think that may have just been Rowan. Horner with damage all over the back of that car. It is very rough and ugly here at the very beginning, as there is some turn 1 contact. Horner has been spun around. Now he is going to have to try and fight his way back through this GT4 field and hope that he does not have too much damage on that car. As they cycle through, we are riding along with Horner, as we will start to see the GT4s move through the field here. Morton going nearly what looked to be straight on at the bus stop, and there has been some contact at the bus stop. Davis once again involved in some unfortunate contact. Morton with damage on that car. 51 of Davis, Morton, Greathouse, all drivers with damage on those cars. Extremely unfortunate, absolutely gutted for Davis. He was hoping for a good result tonight and has gotten everything but it. Vasquez up into the lead. Craters P2. Darnell up into P3 ahead of McDonough. Horner with that unfortunate contact at the very beginning. Same thing with Rowan and Jennings. Jennings moving forward. I think Rowan was moving backwards. Rowan got caught up in that lap 1 incident with Horner, as Horner once again still trying to move through the field. In GT4, Bird with Elizondo just behind, and now you start to see some of this class traffic, the difference in pace here. Rowan trying to get away, but just being respectful to the GT4s, but that will put Bird at a disadvantage, forcing him to take the slower inside line, as Elizondo is fully alongside as they run down to the turn 1 entry. Bird and Elizondo side by side through turn 1. Harold, Mikey, and Drain all following suit. There's 5 cars here battling for the lead in GT4. Vasquez, the GT2 leader, looks to have broken away slightly, but they are going to line up 2 by 2 like it's a formation lap, side by side by side, as they come down the straight towards the bus stop. Bird under attack from Harold, Elizondo to the outside, and Horner in the GT2 is going to thread the needle between all of them. Horner saying, get out of my way, I've got a race to win. Bird nearly having his race ended right there as there was some slight contact between Horner and Bird, but Bird held on to it, and Bird up into the lead with Elizondo, P2, Harold, P3 now, Mikey, P4, Drain, P5. 5-way battle for the lead here in GT4. Bird back on top after his runaway win in race 2. We will see if Bird can hold on to it as they are lined up 5 deep as they come to the toe. At the front of this next pack, Kane ahead of Fernandez, Miller, Atwell, Mott. Eggy looking to make a move on Atwell as they will go 2 by 2 on the exit of the toe as they head down towards the heel. Eggy will be on the inside of Atwell, and Eggy looks to have that move done. Mott looks to follow through, but Mott will not. So we hop back on with the GT2 battles. Craters, Darnell, and McDonough, all 3 battling for position here. Craters looks to have a bad exit of turn 1, which will put him under attack from Darnell, but Darnell under much harder attack from McDonough, as we may be looking at a move here for position as they head down to the bus stop. Darnell goes defensive. McDonough slots behind Craters. McDonough has help from the slipstream. They will try it 2 by 2. It will not happen 2 by 2. Darnell ahead of McDonough. Once more, Darnell holding on to this podium as he is trying to move forward, but McDonough is not making that very easy. McDonough forcing Darnell to be defensive instead of offensive as McDonough goes for the dive bomb once more. Will it stick? I don't think so, but he will have the optimal line, but Darnell will get the cutback, and Darnell has taken that position back. McDonough went to send it. He licked a stamp and sent it Royal Mail style, and it did not stick. Now, McDonough will be under attack from Viana as Darnell is loving every bit of it. He has grown a gap which will allow him to focus on moving forward towards Craters. And there is a little bit of gap in the GT2 field. Back on with the GT4 battle for the lead. Bird ahead of Elizondo. Harrell now up into this battle, forcing himself into the discussion. Harrell up into P3 ahead of Mikey, ahead of Drain. Drain dropping back from this pack slightly, but still your top 3 extremely close. Mikey looking to hold on to the very back of the slipstream to not get dropped off of that battle. Orton with a 30-second stop and go penalty, I believe, for either speeding in pit lane or track limits. Young into the pits, I believe, servicing some damage. Darnell still up ahead of McDonough with Viana in tow. Darnell has fallen off of the slipstream of Craters, looking to fight that position back, but still, with McDonough and Viana as close as they are behind, they are just getting towed behind him, as Darnell is essentially strapping a hook to McDonough's front bumper and pulling him along as they head through the S's and down into the bus stop. McDonough looking to maybe try the dive bomb once again. Will not happen, but he will set Darnell up for an overtake as Darnell gets a slight overshoot. Darnell will now be defensive down into the toe, and McDonough will try the cutback here. It will not happen. Darnell will have the optimal line through the corner, but this battling is only closing up this battle even tighter as Viana is now fully into this battle. Darnell going extremely defensive as they come to the heel, turn 8. And then McDonough trying around the outside will have the advantage as they head to turn 9. And McDonough looks to have the position taken as they come through turn 9 down towards turn 10. Darnell could fight it back. as Darnell will now be the one receiving the slipstream as they come through turns 10 and 11. Short pitch straight down towards turn 1 could lend Darnell the speed for an overtake. Will it be enough as they head down towards turn 1? McDonough going slightly defensive. Darnell following, holding on to that slipstream. Darnell going around the outside, forcing McDonough defensive on the inside. And now Darnell will try it around the outside, and it will stick. He's going wide. Outside track limits, cannot gain an advantage. Slotting back behind McDonough, he nearly had it done, but cannot overtake off track as you do not want to get a track limit warning. And now these three coming through the S's down towards the bus stop. Darnell still behind McDonough. He is going to be fully in that slipstream now on the opposite end of the battle, trying to move forward past McDonough. This is a great battle for position here. McDonough trying to hold on to it now in the position that Darnell was a lap prior, where he is trying to pull away from the field, but Darnell and Viana both are not going to let that happen. Back on the GT4 battle for the lead. Bird still ahead of Elizondo, with Harrell pulled up into this battle. Less than a quarter of a second between these three drivers, as Mikey and Drain still following behind, hoping to pick up the scraps if anything goes awry as they head down towards the bus stop. Bird and Elizondo following nicely through. They will file through single file. Elizondo looks to have a bad exit of the corner. And Elizondo now under attack from Harrell. Harrell will slot just behind, but Elizondo feeling the pressure from Harrell, as Harrell may be on for the move here very shortly. Back on with the GT2 battle. McDonough has broken away from Darnell slightly. Darnell still in the slipstream with Viana still in tow. Harris now may be becoming a part of this battle. Car number 555 of Mott and car number 23 of Young, I believe, getting involved in some contact. Morton still with that stop and go penalty. A lot of those GT4s towards the back of the pack showing signs of damage. Bird now pulling a slight gap to Elizondo. Vasquez all on his lonesome with Craters as well. They are both pulling away from this battle. McDonough now growing a slight gap on Darnell, as Darnell is now under attack from Viana. Viana looking to nose in on the inside down the chute. Will not happen there. And Darnell on the defensive as they come around the toe. Bird now broken away slightly ahead of Elizondo and Harrell. Elizondo and Harrell now the pair battling here. Mikey and Drain still following close behind, in position to pick up the scraps if needed. Elizondo going defensive. Harrell trying it around the outside. He will have a little bit of an increase in speed of that slipstream, but it will not be enough for the move there, as they just cycle through the bus stop single file. About the only way you can do it through there, as there is about half a track length between the leading duos here, the leading battles. Right around the 20-minute mark, we will start to see these lead battles converge. So we may have those battles all in one frame like we did at Valencia a couple weeks ago. Elizondo on the inside of Harrell. Harrell will have a good exit, but Mikey is now fully into this battle. Mikey now looking to force an overtake on Harrell, as Mikey going offensive down into turn 8. Harrell following just behind Elizondo. I believe I may be having a little bit of technical difficulty with the microphone. Give me 1 second. Alright, we should be better now, I think. Mikey Looking for the move down into turn 1, not close enough for it to happen, but Harrell getting a poor exit of the corner that will bring Mikey closer to this move. Vasquez and Craters now catching the tail end of the GT4 field. Viana up into P4 ahead of Darnell. Darnell dropping down the positions. Maybe just not having the speed tonight that he usually does. Still following behind Viana, but not up into the podium positions like he was earlier. Bird and Elizondo still in battle here. Bird just trying to pull away from Elizondo. Has not happened yet. Harrell and Drain. Harrell, Drain, and Mikey all in a battle for the final spot on the podium. As Harrell looks to go on the inside of Mikey. Will slot just behind. Drain now looking offensive down into turn 8. And it will get the position away from Harrell. Harrell going very conservative and just allowing Drain to get that move done. Drain also looking to move on Mikey here very shortly. As I am having some audio issues on my side, let me know if everything sounds alright to you guys, but I am just having a little bit of audio issue. Bird and Elizondo still in battle here. Coming down to turn 1. Elizondo will just tuck behind, follow Bird through. Not a very good overtaking opportunity there, as Elizondo will be very, very close. Could try and get the move fully done before they get back to the bus stop. As we see Mikey, Harrell, and Drain slotting in just behind. Bird and Elizondo. I see it, Baby Joe, thank you. I think it's a lot better now, but it was getting very fuzzy for me and I was not sure if my voice was maybe coming through wrong. Bird and Elizondo still in battle. Both exchanging blows, but neither driver having a severe advantage over the other. The battle for the final spot on the podium still raging on. Mikey, Drain, and Harrell all running together still. This is where the battle of attrition starts to come in. Which of these drivers have fought with tire wear? As Elizondo gets a very good exit of the toe. Not close enough for a move yet, but still shaping up the move on Bird. You can see Elizondo trying to form it, maybe having a look down into turn 9, but not happening there, as we've got a couple more cars that is Eggy. And Darnell has now taken it to the pits. Darnell pitting, I believe, to fix some damage, but extremely unfortunate for Darnell, as he will come back out on track. He will still be on the lead lap, maybe have some better pace, but unfortunate for Darnell there. I'm not sure that I caught any contact that he may have been involved in, as we start to see some of the leaders move through. Vasquez fully in the GT4 traffic. And Vasquez now moving past, as he will thread the needle between some of these GT4s, between Merkel and Atwell, encroaching ever so slowly on the GT4 leaders. The GT2 field seems to be a little bit spread out. Bird and Elizondo still in battle here, as they are starting to come up to some traffic of their own class. Mikey, Drain, and Harrell still following behind. Elizondo much closer through the chute than he was before. Will Elizondo have the look down into the toe? It will not happen. Bird, Elizondo Mikey, Drain, and Harold all taking the optimum racing line. Mikey, Drain, and Harold still trying to hold on to the toe of the leaders as Bird is giving some flashers to the lap car, soon-to-be lap car of Morton. And now traffic starting to come to play here for the battle for the lead here in GT4. Trying to navigate their way around Morton as the lead pack comes through. Morton will pull off to the side and allow some of these cars to come through as Bird now getting a great advantage from this traffic. Now pulling away from Elizondo slightly. Mikey being hampered by the traffic a little bit, and now Drain will move forward into P3. Battle heating up here for the GT4 podium and for the win. So we will hop back onto the GT2 field as Flatman, the GT4 is around, Viana is around. Some unfortunate contact there. Horner just running a great race will now maybe be getting a position back here. One of the cars that was a front runner, Viana, I think getting involved in some traffic incident there. And traffic has been an extremely crucial factor in these battles. Horner still with that damage, but now up, moving forward through the field, up into P5. Just a couple positions outside of the podium, and that podium is not very far away from him. Horner could be on for a podium here before the end of the race. Vasquez still with a nice gap to Craters. Same thing with McDonough. They are all on their own, pretty much in their own no man's land. Will they be able to navigate through traffic? Will they have good luck for the rest of the race? Traffic is going to be all around on track. Bird and Elizondo now bumper to bumper as they come down to turn 8 once again. Not close enough for a move from either of them. Will just continue on, lining back single file, putting the laps in, just doing their own thing, racing their own race. Rowan, I want to say that was Rowan and Darnell. Darnell now on his lonesome. And I think he's got some damage once again on the front of that car, but he should have some fresh tires. Darnell hoping for a better result here in race 3 than he's had all night. Darnell just being on the receiving end of some unfortunate luck. Your GT4 leaders still in battle. This pack of 5 cars has broken away completely from the rest of the field, and they are all trying to battle for these lead positions here. Battle for the podium. Elizondo getting a much better exit of turn 1 than Bird. They will now be side by side. The thing that happens here is Elizondo loses that slipstream that he had before. Now it is raw power versus raw power. Elizondo will have the move done as he will carry more momentum across as Bird will slot behind. Now these drivers will probably begin to battle more and will once again close that gap up. We will see if Bird can keep up with Elizondo or if Elizondo has found some pace in that car and will be running away. Now Craters just behind Vasquez. The battle for the GT2 lead heating up as Craters closing up that gap, less than a second behind Viana, nearly in slipstream range. Slipstream range kicks in at about 3/4 of a second. And now Craters inching ever so much closer to the rear bumper of Vasquez. We could have a battle for the lead in GT2 there. Still here in GT4, Elizondo now broken away from Bird slightly. Bird may be under attack from Drain here, but Drain himself is under attack from Mikey. Harold now back in this battle. Regardless of how they shake up, this top 5 here in GT4 has given us some great racing so far. Hopping on with Merkel with the GT2 of Breakfast moving through. There is Norman going around the outside. Where is Rowan? Rowan up into P8 in GT2. Running on his own, but still running his own race. Anything can happen. It is not over yet. Elizondo now broken free from Bird. Bird now dropping back slightly. If he does get a little bit of slipstream help from these cars behind, they may be able to cooperate and catch back up to Elizondo. But as it stands right now, Elizondo breaking away with the lead here in GT4. Harrell at the very end of this field as the leaders are now coming through. This traffic here will be extremely crucial in this battle for GT2. Vasquez trying to get past as many of them as he can, before they get into the bus stop, but being forced to go side by side with Mikey for a very short amount of time. That will allow Craters to move ahead slightly. But once again, traffic becoming a factor here as the two TRC admins of Craters and Mikey go past each other there. Vasquez still with traffic ahead. The traffic will yield the best they can, but Craters is now looking for a move for the lead here as the traffic has just been an unfortunate position for Vasquez as Drain and Vasquez making contact there. I was going to say Drain is the pawn in this GT2 battle as they were going 3 wide past the GT4s there, one on each side of Drain, but Craters, using that traffic to his complete advantage, moves up into the lead here in GT2, and as long as this traffic can stay behind Craters and ahead of Vasquez as they come to the start-finish line, Craters will be able to build himself a nice lead. So far, with a great race, but that traffic helping him so much more. You'd think they were paid actors there, as Craters now pulling a gap to Vasquez. Vasquez finally passed that traffic, but the gap is over a second. Craters, as long as he has better speed, should be able to pull away, but Craters overcooking it into turn 1. A little bit of a commentator's curse there. He's not going to get a penalty, but he is not going to have as good of an exit of turn 1 as he could have. It's not going to be curtains for him yet in terms of winning this race, but that did not help him one bit. Car number 19 of Merkel off track, allowing some traffic to come through. Car number 31 of Morton getting another stop-and-go penalty, I believe, either for speeding in pit lane or track limits. I'm not 100% sure. Elizondo now broken away completely from this GT4 field, with a little bit of help from the leaders of the GT2 field moving through. But Bird and Mikey here. Well, yeah, it is Bird and Mikey. Drain is ahead of both of them now. This is the battle for the third position here, as Drain has moved up into second. Bird now moving down the order. Bird in P3, defending against Mikey. Could be falling back outside the podium positions. And thank you, Baby Joe, for gifting that sub. As Jacob gets a free subscription there. Jack Craters still pulling away from Vasquez slightly. The gap is closing ever so slightly, as I think Vasquez, we'll see how the timing board updates, but Vasquez much closer to the Craters than he was before, so just 0.6 of a second. Vasquez will be fully in the slipstream as they come to the bus stop yet again. Elizondo broken away nicely. Drain with the GT2 of Harris moving through the field. Bird and Mikey coming together at the entry to turn 1. That will allow Harold to move up into the podium position. Extremely unfortunate for Bird and Mikey, and they're still all tangled up on each other as they are trying to get past one another, trying to get back on the track. Mikey down in there in the ditch, trying to get the car started back up. Unfortunate for Mikey and unfortunate for Bird. They have not lost positions, but they have lost track position. Car number 31 of Morton around yet again, and I believe there may have been some contact with the GT2 of McDonough. I see a little bit of damage on the front of that car, but Morton with some unfortunate luck in this race. Kane and Fernandez looking like they are having a little bit of a scrap here. At least they looked a lot closer on the track map. Atwell was just behind Ditto, but it seems that that gap has grown. And once again, your GT2 leaders, Vasquez on the offensive. Craters closing the door on that move, not allowing it to happen, but also going off track. You do not want to gain an advantage because you will be given a track limit violation warning. And Vasquez still trying to get this move for the lead done, trying to take this position back. Craters trying to hold on to it best he can, but I'm not sure how much in terms of tires Craters has left on that car. It's the second time that we've seen him go deep into turn 1. That is not going to help him run away from Vasquez. Car number 999, a taxi dad around at the bus stop. He is allowing the traffic to move through. The course should be clear for him, as he needs to go ahead and get it out of the way, as he does take it back to the pits, as the GT2 leaders were about to be coming through that section of track very shortly. Car number 16. Who is in car number 16? That would be Mikey, as Mikey is around at the final corner. Unfortunate for Mikey, the race was everything that he could have ever wanted, and it has completely unraveled with that contact with Bird earlier on. Elizondo ahead of Drain, ahead of Harrell. They are spread out, but they have all but secured their positions for the finish of this race. Vasquez and Craters still locked in battle for the GT2 win here. Craters defending like a lion, doing everything he can to hold on to this position. Vasquez being conservative, trying to time his attack the best that he can. As Vasquez and Craters once again coming to the penultimate corners, almost 3/4 of the way through this race. Will Vasquez be able to take this win, or take this lead back and take the win here in race 3? Will Craters be able to defend long enough for Vasquez's tires to fall off? It's going to be close as they head down to turn 1. Craters still ahead. Vasquez not going offensive into turn 1, following just behind Craters, as they both have about equal exits of turn 1. Craters with a much better exit of turn 1 than he had been getting on the previous couple laps. And Vasquez once again slotting behind Craters, just following through. This is the battle for the GT2 lead here, with just over 10 minutes left of this race. Plenty of time for it to be unraveled, but also plenty of time to build your strength to move forward on the order. Plenty of time for anything to happen. And those drivers who have just been running a clean race could be looking at a result to fall into their lap. Craters understeering through the chute. That will allow Vasquez all over his rear bumper. Craters trying everything he can to stay defensive and not allow Vasquez to look on the inside as they come to the toe. It will not happen. Vasquez will once again slot behind. Craters defending, doing everything that he can. How far back is McDonough? McDonough is quite a ways back. But, as we have seen for these battles tonight, contact between these two would either bring McDonough back into it or grant McDonough the win. These two, they can race hard, but they also need to race clean. As Short, the GT4 traffic forcing this battle to choke up on each other. As Craters will move past Short here. The multi-class traffic not hindering this lead battle too much, but did give Craters a little bit of an advantage. Vasquez now having the look towards turn 1, tucking back in, just saying, hey, Craters, I'm here. And maybe that psychological warfare has done something, as Craters goes very wide on the exit of turn 1. Will slot in just behind Vasquez, and that's everything Vasquez wanted. As he had seen Craters go a little bit deep at turn 1, Craters goes very deep that time, and Vasquez will take this lead back. I wanted to say this was a battle between Greathouse and Young, but it is not. Greathouse is about a lap ahead of Young, or a couple laps ahead of Young. And now the leading battle threads, actually forces Greathouse to be the thread to go between the needle. They completely enveloped Greathouse. Same thing with Young. Young fully in the midst of this GT2 lead battle. There's only so many places for this traffic to go. They are doing everything they can to get out of the way. Sometimes maybe the passing cars don't want them to get out of the way. They just want them to follow through. McDonough still in P3, back in GT4. Elizondo pulling away. Car number 19 of Merkel is around at the exit of the bus stop, allowing the field to move through. Bird up into P4. Mikey down the order. I think he is down in P8. Yes, Mikey down in P8. Unfortunate for Mikey, that contact with Bird earlier on in the race. Bird trying to gain back those positions. There's a long way to go. This car number 2 is at the toe, and Bird is just now coming through the chute. As we see the GT2 of Breakfast moving past Drain. Viana was a front runner earlier on in this race, just getting caught in an unfortunate incident and being shuffled back down into P6. Same thing with Horner, as Horner makes contact with Short. Short is around the Fanatec boards flying all over the place. I'm not sure what happened there, but Short getting spun around. I believe there may have been some contact with the GT2, maybe some miscommunication between those two drivers, as maybe Short was trying to get out of the way. Or maybe Horner was trying to weave past and misjudged his move. Merkel also limping that car home. That car is extremely damaged. It looks like it is not really cooperating with him on the steering wheel. Craters still close behind Vasquez. Your GT2 battle for the lead still going on this many laps later, as Vasquez has pulled away slightly from Craters, but Craters has not let him get away. This battle could come down to the last couple laps. They do have some traffic in front of them. We've seen how spicy traffic makes these battles. Kane and Fernandez looking to be in battle here very shortly, as the field has spread out. There has been a lot of damage, a lot of mistakes. The Glen has not played nicely with many of these drivers. Craters following behind Vasquez, still trying to get that lead back or just hold on to it to have some sort of dive bomb move towards the end of the race. Will Craters be able to take that lead back? Will traffic coordinate as best they can, as Craters nearly gets the lead back here as they are moving past Atwell. Vasquez forced wide around the outside. That will give Craters the optimal line through the S's. Craters not with the lead just yet, but he is much closer to Vasquez than he was previously. It will not look to be close enough for a move as they head down towards the bus stop. But once again, now Craters playing the mind games, showing himself in the mirror saying, hey, look, I'm still here. You haven't lost me just yet. And Craters still in contention for the lead here, for the win here in GT2. Elizondo all on his lonesome in GT4. Car number 2, Harrell, getting a drive-through penalty for track limits. He's going to serve that immediately. He's got a 20-second gap to Bird. It's just a drive-through, so he won't have to stop yet, but will he hold on to the position here? Crucial to not speed through pit lane. Car number 103 of Bird will be coming out of the final corner here very shortly. Will Harrell have enough time to make it through and hold on to this position? It could be a battle for the podium here very shortly, as we see Bird coming down the pit straight. He's just crossed the start-finish line. Harrell is about to be at the exit, and Bird will go past. Harrell will lose the position. Harrell does not get a speeding penalty, which is perfect for him. The best that penalty could have gone, but now losing the position to... Actually, he has not lost a position. I swear I saw Bird. Actually, I think the timing board just has not updated yet. He did lose the position. Bird back up into P3 after that contact with Mikey earlier on. But Harrell will fall down to P4. Back up on the GT2 battle for the lead. It is still on. Just 0.3 of a second, and Craters will move ever so much closer as Darnell around. Very severe damage on that car. I think he may have been pushing too hard through the bus stop, and I think that is going to be an end to Darnell's race there. Extremely unfortunate for him. A car that we usually see on the front row. Craters very, very close to Vasquez. The gap was less than a tenth when the timing boards last updated. They must have been nearly side by side. You can see Craters pushing as he is going past the track limit there just a little bit. Craters trying to get everything that he can out of that car, pushing that gas pedal all the way through the floor. As Short now with a stop and go penalty, I believe, as he is just coming out of the pit lane. That is going to be a stop and go for speeding in pit lane. Vasquez pulling away from Craters slightly. The gap has grown over 3/4 of a second. Craters needs to close this gap before they get to the pit straight, as he needs every bit of the slipstream that he can get. Miller and Mikey, the GT4s, up ahead of this lead battle, fighting between each other. Mikey looking for a move on Miller. Vasquez and Craters, the GT2 leaders, looking to move through this GT4 battle as fast as possible. Vasquez hoping to not be hindered too much, but Vasquez being boxed in, nowhere to go. That's only going to help Craters. As Vasquez threads the needle between them, that moves Craters very close back into this battle. Will Craters have the move down into turn 1? He's got to look. He has the space. Vasquez will afford him the space, and Craters will go back past. Craters up into the lead here in GT2 once again. The traffic has played a crucial role in this battle for the lead. Craters back up into the lead. Will Craters be able to hold on to it? He's just got this lap and one more. It will be white flag next lap. Does Craters have enough to hold on to this lead? Harris and McDonough in battle here for the final spot on the podium. Harris just slotting ahead of McDonough. McDonough slotting just behind Harris. It's going to be battles for the top 4 positions here in GT2. GT4 seems all but decided, as Drain and Bird with Harold just behind. Harold could maybe get close enough if Bird makes a mistake, but I believe the podium in GT4 is all but locked down. Craters now back ahead of Vasquez. It will be a 1-lap shootout to the end here. Once they come to the line, does Craters have enough tires left in that car? Does Vasquez have enough speed left in that car? There will be a couple traffic cars ahead of them, as Darnell once again going around at the toe, trying to get that car turned back around. Unfortunate for Darnell. Very unfortunate for Darnell, usually one of our front runners. Vasquez looking for a move into the final corner, will not find it. As they come across the line, it is Craters ahead of Vasquez. Will it be Craters ahead of Vasquez the next time they come across the line? There was 1 second left. If Craters would have backed off, the race would have been over there, but 1 second left. Craters comes across the line. Now he has to hold on to it. Craters and Vasquez pushing these cars to their absolute limit. It is going to be a battle for the lead on the last lap, with McDonough and Harris also battling for the final spot on the podium. Craters and Vasquez. Craters ahead of Vasquez. They've got some traffic just ahead of them. Will it come in to be a factor in this battle before they get to the start-finish line one more time? Craters ahead of Vasquez. Craters getting a little bit of the dirt there. That will close the gap for Vasquez. Vasquez back just behind Craters, all over his rear bumper. Will it be a move for the lead here one more time? Vasquez looking for the dive bomb down into the chute. Will not happen. But Craters with a poorer exit going defensive. Vasquez looking to force the overtake into the toe. Craters going defensive, taking the middle of the track. And this traffic may play a crucial role. They are going to come across this traffic right before they get to the very end of the lap. Craters still ahead of Vasquez. Craters defending like he can, everything that he can. Vasquez looking for a move. Not close enough. Craters once again shutting the door. Will Vasquez be close enough to get it? Just 3 more corners left to figure that out, left to make a move. Craters still ahead of Vasquez. Vasquez trying everything that he can. Craters gets a poor exit of turn 9. Vasquez will have the inside for turn 10. It'll be side by side. Vasquez has He was ahead for just a second. Craters will take the lead back as he will have the inner optimal line. It's going to be a drag race to the line. Vasquez holds the inside. Will Vasquez be close enough? I think Craters will have it. And Craters will take the win here in GT2 Race 3, the 40-minute race. Craters with a move with just a couple laps left to go takes the win. Vasquez P2. McDonough has broken away from Harris. Harris with some unfortunate, I think he may have spun. Harris was up into P4. McDonough getting his P3. Horner P4. Viana P5. In GT4, they will be coming across the line shortly. Number 16 and car 2 very close to each other. Mikey bringing home what looks to be a P7 or a P8. Horner, P4, Viana, P5, Harris, P6. Breakfast coming out of the final corner will be P7 in GT2. Rowan, P8. Elizondo, all but with the lead, or with the win, locked down here in race 3. Drain ahead of Darnell. Gutted for Darnell. He had everything going for him for a great finish tonight. We usually expect a great finish from him, but the luck has not been on his side. The Glen did not agree with him. He's going to hope for a better result next week. As we are riding along with Elizondo through the final corner, Elizondo will take the checkered flag for GT4 in race 3, the 40-minute race. Drain will take P2 here at the end of race 3. And Harrell will come away even after getting the speeding penalty, or getting the track limit penalty. Harrell will bring home P3 in GT4. Harrell just ran his race and it came his way. Harrell bringing home P3 as Bird, parked on track, would be looking at P4, but he has to come across the line first. And I can only imagine that what we're looking at right here is just frustration paramount from Bird. Well, the finishing order, Craters, your winner in GT2 with Vasquez just behind, who was just behind pretty much the entire race. McDonough, P3, Horner, P4, Viana, P5, Harris, P6, Breakfast, P7, Rowan, P8, Darnell, P9, and there were a few other finishers in there. Elizondo taking home the win in GT4. Drain, P2, Harrell, P3, Bird, P4. Has not technically finished the race yet, but he is in P4. Mikey, P5. Ditto, P6. Greyhouse, P7. Short, P8. Young, P9. Merkel, P10. And the rest of the field has left. Well, it was a very eventful race 3 there. Very eventful night here in the KTM Kannonball. Very interesting race or season start. Very interesting season opener. As we are just back in pit lane with these drivers. The nerves are all over the place. I can only imagine that some of these drivers are extremely happy with their finishes. Some of these drivers are maybe have their hearts down at their feet with how their race went.
Green light, green light. Go, go,
There
go.
was incidents all over the place. I can only imagine that the emotions are all the way from extremely happy to extremely sad. But that's the way racing goes. You don't win them all, and you can't win them on skill alone. You need luck on your side. And we've seen which of those drivers were lucky and which were not. We'll see how it continues next week as we move on to round 2 of the TRC KTM Kannonball Multi-Class Series. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching on both the Twitch stream and the YouTube stream. On next Wednesday, for the next round of the KTM Kannonball Series. We will not be racing on Sunday due to Memorial Day. I hope you guys watch the Indy 500 and the Coke 600. Cheer on Kyle Larson as he goes to chase his first IndyCar start, and also attempt to win the Indy 500. And also catch the Monaco Grand Prix. It's a great racing weekend. Spend some time with your families. Happy Memorial Day, and I will see you guys on Wednesday. Thank you for tuning in.